Who are Jehovah's Witnesses?
They're a religion that I feel is got some cult-like properties to it, that I was raised in from birth, and a religion that I left in my 30s.
So it's exciting. On a book, okay. Right when we walked in, there was a ton of books on the shelf. Am I just standing somewhere?
Yeah, looking pretty next to these lilacs.
Oh, this is so beautiful. Is the baseball cap okay, or is it kind of douchebaggy?
I think you look it. Maybe you should straighten it. I think I can help.
Oh,
you
is
out.
it crooked? I don't want to be one of those guys. Hello, hello. I'm giving you guys a sound level right now. Am I supposed to look directly? What is a Jehovah's Witness? It's someone who is a member of the religion Jehovah's Witnesses. They eat, sleep, live, and breathe it. They believe it's the one and only true religion. And they have to, by default, agree with absolutely everything that their governing organization, the Watchtower Society, teaches. At least outwardly they do.
Short answer, I guess, would be a cult, but they're descended from an apocalyptic religion that was created back in the 1800s. They basically turned into the Church of Seventh-day Adventists and the Church of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Since I was a child, I was encouraged to not have friends outside of the religion. They were called worldly people, and they were to not be associated with too closely because bad associations spoil useful habits. And man, some of the other cult-like properties of it. That's one of the huge things, is that they really segregate themselves. Even though we still are out in the world, or they are still out in the world, we were, they really segregate themselves and have an actual term for people on the outside.
What do they call them?
Worldly people.
Quoted the verse, you paraphrase the verse.
1 Corinthians, yeah. I can't remember what it is now, sorry.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, bad associations.
1533, I think it was. Yeah, bad associations spoil useful habits.
What do you feel about that now?
I feel like I feel like you need to be strong enough of a person with your beliefs that you can know any type of person and you're going to go back to that. It sounds like a very weak-willed person to be that diverted by someone just because they have different views than you do.
I left the religion because under a critical eye, if you're capable of being honest with yourself, then eventually you realize that it just doesn't stand up to a rational worldview.
So I left the Jehovah's Witnesses because I realized that staying in was doing more harm than good, both for me and my family, my immediate family, which at the time consisted of my wife and my one-year-old son. I stayed a witness even after I no longer really believed it and had all sorts of disagreements with many of their teachings, which I largely kept to myself, shared a little bit with my wife and a couple of my friends. But when my wife finally approached me with the cognitive dissonance we'd been maintaining through the years, I realized after some soul searching for about 48 hours that it behooved me to leave in order to live a happier, more fulfilling, and less hypocritical life, especially since I was now in charge of bringing up a child along with my wife.
The question is, why did you leave the religion?
Multiple reasons. I definitely didn't believe in many of the doctrines anymore. And a huge thing in my heart was that when I was 9, my grandma disassociated herself and we couldn't see her anymore. And when I was 14, I was in a car accident where my mom died, her oldest daughter. I longed for more family after that in general, but as I got older, I really wanted to know my grandma. And it felt so wrong that I couldn't talk to her and couldn't know her. And that was one of the biggest joys of both of our lives, is reuniting in my 30s and getting to know her again before she passed this last year. There's many reasons. I mean, I was disfellowshipped 2 times, and by the second time, I didn't believe that this was a just way to handle people having issues of any sort. And I felt compelled to I can't think of any words right now. I felt compelled to tell the things that I did. So I was one of those people. And I probably could have gotten away with some of the things, but I felt compelled to confess. And by the second time, I just, all these things were adding up, and I just couldn't live the lifestyle anymore. And that was one of the things too, is it felt so unjust to banish someone like they do, where you're not allowed to speak to anyone, and they have, you got to go to all the 3 meetings at the time, for like about a year, they say at least a year, and not have anyone talk to you and earn your way back in. It just didn't seem right to me anymore, which things not seeming right after being raised in that type of situation, it feels so wrong for it not to feel right. And even after I left the religion, there was so much guilt and heaviness, and I just remember even going to another church, I felt guilty to enter the threshold of another church because that was evil. Any other church was evil. But yeah, I'm digressing.
The amount of conflict that it causes between families and friends, and just as a whole throughout the course of all of human history, the amount of conflict that religion has caused in general made me take a much closer look at, what I thought was really important about life.
How did you feel about other religions as a witness, and how do you feel about them now?
I definitely felt that all other religions were misguided and on the wrong path, and maybe they had good intentions, but they were spreading they were miseducating people, and it was, now how I feel about it is I'm just so much more open-minded than I ever imagined to be, and I love to learn and know different viewpoints, and I think that I'm really not actually for organized religion very much anymore, but I think whatever people are doing good and trying to help other people, and spreading any kind of, and just helping people, I guess. I appreciate that avenue of it, but I don't really believe in organized religion. Though I still do believe in God. That's something that I've noticed a lot of people that have left religion don't believe in God anymore. That's something a little bit different about me, is that I still pray with my children, but I don't pray in the same way. And I still believe in a higher power.
What are you doing now with your life?
Enjoying it because it's the only one I've got. I'm not waiting to die. I don't believe that I'm going to heaven. I'm not afraid of hell. I'd rather just enjoy the life that I have for what it is than wait on some great eternal reward.
I made a list of things that I wanted to do with my life, or things that I just wanted to try. Some were very minor things, like I wanted to read an entire series of a certain kind of book, and others were more major, like I wanted to get a 4-year degree, which I was finally able to do after leaving the Witnesses. My time is mostly occupied with caring for my children and working and taking care of a house and a yard, so aside from not being a witness, a lot of the things I do are similar to what witnesses do, right? Just making the money you need to survive and taking care of the people that you love, But it's nice doing it without being a witness, that's for sure.
Could you put a name to that belief that you have now?
Yeah, I feel like there is some kind of a creator to our universe, especially having children really made that stay with me, maybe. Seeing their existence and then the design of the earth. I just still feel that there's a creation and a purpose. I still feel that, but I don't feel like one person necessarily knows what that is.
How do you feel about this deity compared to how you felt about Jehovah?
I feel like that probably similar, but in some ways, because, or at least what I was taught, but that's not what the Jehovah's Witness religion. He was more of a judging God, and I don't feel like this deity, like you say, is judging. He's more the one that's not judging, and I'm one of his children, or his or her, actually. I don't feel like there's necessarily a sex, or it's just, and I'm still searching too. That's the thing too, is I'm lost. I feel kind of lost, even though I don't feel that I ever would could ever be part of that religion again. I feel a loss, from being in that until my 30s and now leaving it, or living outside of it now.
What was the greatest loss from leaving?
Family, definitely.
What happened to your family?
They just stopped. Once they realized that I was practicing things that were, or doctrines that they didn't believe in, then they couldn't associate with me anymore. Celebrating birthdays, Christmas, those, which, it's just amazing how important those type of things are to them.
Yeah, I'm definitely happier with my life now. It's taken a long time to get into a good spot. The thing about having been a witness is that witnesses will ask ex-witnesses if they feel like they're happier now because they consider themselves to be the happiest people on earth. And to me, that's not even really relevant, because it's almost like saying, are you happier sober or drunk? I mean, clearly you're not thinking straight when you're drunk, regardless of whether or not you're happier. Or are you happier once you found out you had cancer or not? I mean, the truth is you found out you have cancer, so let's just be honest. So it was happy and gratifying to think that I would live forever in a paradise earth where there would be no diseases or sickness or crime or economic difficulties for people. That was a nice thing, So I'm happier thinking about that future than the future that I think the earth might actually have. But ultimately, I'm happier living with honesty and with truth and with seeing the world as it is, and with looking at my neighbors and coworkers and stuff and realizing these are people that are valuable too and that I could be friends with, and that I don't have to judge them based solely on their theological underpinnings.
Am I happier now? Vastly. Without a doubt. I didn't know it was possible to achieve this level of contentedness when I was a witness. I'm a carpenter, and it's one of the most fulfilling lines of work I could imagine. And I have good hobbies, I have good friends, and I think the duration of most of my personal relationships throughout the course of my life really speaks for itself. I've known most of my friends for at least a decade, and a lot of them are ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. The kind of bond that I have with witnesses, it's really difficult to explain, because it's something that goes so deep that, having had the gall to walk away from a religion that indoctrinates you so thoroughly tells me a lot about the quality of the people that I know that are ex-Jehovah's Witnesses.
What do you do now with your life?
It took me a while because I was lost, and I still feel a sense of loss, but I've grown so much. I'm happier than I've ever been in my life. I'm so proud and happy that my children have a different life than I do. My oldest daughter I raised until 9 in the religion, and she celebrated her first birthday at 9. And she's just thankful every day that I didn't raise her in that religion. And she just got her bachelor's degree in psychology from Augsburg recently. So I'm just really proud of her. And she's really the first person in the family that graduated from college. So she's just an amazing kid, and I'm just so proud of all my kids. And I'm just so hopeful that all the options and hope that they have in their future. So that's one of my greatest joys. And I'm just enjoying my life now, and I feel free. And I'm just enjoying being able to do what I want to do, and sharing love with all people and not judging people. I enjoy not being a judging person too, like I used to be, because it was just the mindset with the religion, So
If there's any advice you could give to Jehovah's Witnesses or ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, what would it be?
To ex-Jehovah's Witnesses?
Let's start with Jehovah's Witnesses.
I think a lot what holds people in, man, I guess I'm thinking of like my best friend that is still a Jehovah's Witness, that it's not worth it, I guess. It seems like you couldn't live without your family, and you can find a new family and new friends that love you for who you are. And so people that I guess are on the edge, I can say that too, because I feel like she's not completely in wholeheartedly anymore, but is just holding on for that. So for people like that, I don't know what I would say to the ones that still believe. I'm at a loss for that. Just I'm so much happier not being in the religion anymore, and I would want that for them. And people on the outside, I don't know, let's get together and hang out and talk about our lives, because it's really interesting. I'm really enjoying this.
That's great.
Seems like a natural end to me.
Okay. Yeah.
Anything else you want to say?
No, I wanted to get my daughter in there and my grandma. So it's something I was really proud of, and then something that was so precious to me that I got back. So yeah, sorry for the fumbling.
Oh, yeah.
Editing, that's good.